welcome to Master Brain Mathematics. My name is Marlies. So today we are going to have a look at grade 11 trigonometry, and we are going to look at an example of where you are asked to calculate the value of an expression without the use of a calculator. So in this case, we are given the question of determining cos square of 150 degrees. Now, once we get that, there are a few things we have to take note of or consider. First thing is that we need to see that we have got 150 degrees, which means that we are working in our second quadrant. And it means that also we must remember now, according to what we have learned, that in the second quadrant, you are going to work with 180 degrees minus theta, or your angle that you will then eventually determine here for this one. Also important to note is that cos square is also the same as the cos of 150 degrees squared. So it's another way of writing it, and also not to get confused. So let's have a look at practically how we will do this calculation. So what is important is that we will have to remember our cos rule that we apply, knowing that when we work with cos, it will be positive in your fourth quadrant. But in this case, we are working in our second quadrant, so we already know that our cos will have a negative value. Then we will get to this little triangle later, but once we have determined our acute angle, it is important that we are then able to apply this triangle or our other triangle that we are able to draw, where we have our 90 degree and our 245 degrees angles inside of the triangle. So let's have a look. So the first thing is, I think we would go and rewrite so that we have this in the correct format for us. We will write that we have this as the cos of 150 degrees and that whole expression squared. And then we will go and we will then express the 150 in terms of 180 degrees minus another angle. So in this case, obviously 180 minus 150 gives you 30. So 180 minus 30 degrees will give you the 150 in the original, and that whole expression squared. Okay, and so now we apply our knowledge of knowing that we are working in the second quadrant. We know that cos will be negative, so it will be negative, and applying the ruling when it comes to 180 minus theta, and the cos of that, we will end up with now negative because it's in the second quadrant, and then the cos of only theta, the cos of only the acute angle in this instance, the 30 degrees. So we will end up with negative the cos of 30 degrees, and again, the whole of that still squared. Right. And now in order to go further, we make use of our triangle that we have drawn here, and we need to go have a look at the cos of 30 degrees. Now we can see that our 30-degree angle is over here. We know that cos is your adjacent angle over your hypotenuse side. And so in this instance, it will be the square of 3 over 2. So we go and we write that down. So it means that we still have negative, but it's just 3 squared divided by 2, and all of that again squared. The square root of 3, sorry. Right, and so if we square all of that, it means that we have a negative times a negative, which becomes positive. We have the square root of 3 squared, which means we end up with 3, and then we have 2 squared, which becomes 4. And there we have calculated the value of that expression without the use of a calculator, and simply by applying our knowledge of our different quadrants, the signs of sine, cos, or cosine, and tan in those quadrants, and also our little squares that we are able to draw, whether it be with our 60 or 30-degree angles or our 45 and 45-degree angles. So there you go. That is all for today. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.